There is a photograph that will ruin your day, perhaps your week, possibly your life, if you truly comprehend what you are looking at. It was taken on February 14th, 1990 by a spacecraft called Voyager 1, 6 billion kilometers from Earth. The camera turned back toward home one last time before leaving the solar system forever. And in that image, in a scattered beam of sunlight, Earth appears as a single pixel, a pale blue dot, barely visible against the vastness of empty space. You're on that dot. Everything you have ever known is on that dot. Every person you have ever loved, every dream you have ever had, every accomplishment you have ever celebrated, all of it exists on a speck so small that if you blink while looking at the photograph, you will miss it entirely. This is not poetry, this is not metaphor, this is measurement, this is reality at the scale it actually exists, not the scale your brain pretends it exists to keep you functional. And here is what that photograph reveals. You do not matter. Not in the way you think you do, not in any cosmic sense, not in any way that will persist beyond the brief flicker of your existence. You are a temporary arrangement of atoms on a temporary planet orbiting a temporary star in a galaxy that will eventually collide with another galaxy and scatter into the void. And when that happens, billions of years from now, there will be no record that you were ever here, no monument, no memory, no trace. The universe is not indifferent to you. Indifference implies awareness. The universe does not notice you enough to be indifferent. You are less than a rounding error in the cosmic calculation. You are a footnote to a footnote in a book that no one is reading. You think your life has meaning. You think your choices matter. You think the pain you feel and the joy you experience and the love you share are significant. And from your perspective, from the perspective of a mammal standing on the surface of a rock, they are. They feel important. They feel real. But step back, look at the photograph, see the dot, and understand that everything you think matters is contained in that pixel. And the pixel is nothing, a speck, a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. This is the truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. The truth that every distraction, every ambition, every belief system is designed to hide. You are cosmically irrelevant, and nothing you do will change that. Think about the last time you were upset about something. A conflict at work, a disagreement with a friend, a disappointment, a failure. In that moment, it felt significant. It felt like it mattered. Your body produced stress hormones. Your heart rate increased. You ruminated. You replayed the situation in your mind, analyzing what went wrong, what you could have done differently. Now, zoom out, not metaphorically. Actually, zoom out. You are standing on a planet that is 12,742 kilometers in diameter. That planet is orbiting a star that is 1.4 million kilometers in diameter. That star is one of approximately 400 billion stars in a galaxy that is 100,000 light years across. That galaxy is one of approximately 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. At that scale, your conflict at work is not just insignificant. It is undetectable. It does not register. It is smaller than a quantum fluctuation. If you could somehow mark the location of your conflict on a map of the universe, the mark would be invisible even if you magnified it 1 trillion times. And yet, it felt important. It felt real. Your brain told you it mattered, and you believed it. This is the gap between subjective experience and objective reality, between how life feels and what life is. Your brain evolved to operate at human scales, meters, seconds, kilograms. It did not evolve to comprehend light years, eons, the expansion of space itself. When you try to force your intuition to grasp cosmic scales, it breaks. It cannot hold the numbers. It cannot visualize the distances. It retreats into familiar metaphors that make the incomprehensible seem manageable. But the universe is not manageable. It is not human-sized. It does not care about your metaphors. Here is another way to see it. The universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. Complex life on Earth appeared roughly 600 million years ago. Homo sapiens emerged about 300,000 years ago. Written history extends back about 5,000 years. Your lifespan, if you are lucky, is about 80 years. Do the math. The ratio of your life to the age of the universe is 1 to 172 million. You exist for 0.000006% of cosmic history. You are a flash, a spark, here and gone in an instant that the universe does not notice. And not just you, your entire species. If humanity survives for another million years, which is wildly optimistic given our current trajectory, we will have existed for 0.007% of the universe's history. A rounding error, a statistical noise. Now consider extinction, not human extinction, total extinction, the heat death of the universe. In approximately 10,100 years, the last black holes will evaporate, the last particles will decay, the universe will reach maximum entropy, a state of perfect disorder where nothing can happen because there is no energy gradient left to drive change. Time will cease to have meaning because there will be no events to mark its passage, and in that final state, there will be no record of Earth, no record of life, no record of you. The atoms that once formed your body will have decayed into radiation. The radiation will have dispersed. The information will be irretrievably lost. It will be as if you never existed, as if nothing ever existed, as if the entire history of life in the universe was a brief fever dream in an otherwise dead cosmos. This is not speculation. This is thermodynamics. This is what the equations predict. The universe is not eternal. It had a beginning. It will have an end. And at that end, nothing will remain. So when you think your life has meaning, ask yourself, meaning to whom? Meaning on what time scale? Meaning measured against what standard? If the answer is meaning to me, on the time scale of my life measured against my own values, then fine. But recognize that you are talking about a purely subjective, temporary, local phenomenon, not meaning in any cosmic sense, not meaning that persists, not meaning that matters beyond the confines of your own skull. And then you will die. And the molecules will be reconfigured, and within a few generations, no one will remember you. And within a few thousand years, every physical trace of your existence will have eroded. And within a few million years, even the geological record will be indistinguishable from noise. You think you are building a legacy. You think you are making a mark, but you are writing in sand, and the tide is coming in. Consider the most famous humans in history, the ones who actually did change the world. Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein. We remember them. We teach their names in schools. We study their ideas. They have left a mark. But will they be remembered in a million years, in a billion, when the sun expands into a red giant and vaporizes Earth? When every book has burned and every statue has melted and every digital record has been erased, will anyone remember Newton's laws? Will anyone remember Einstein's equations? No. The universe will continue utterly indifferent, as if they never existed. And if the most accomplished humans in history are ultimately erased, what chance do you have? You, who are not famous. You, who will leave no lasting work. You, who will be forgotten within 3 generations. What is the point of anything you do? There is no point, not in any cosmic sense. You are performing for an audience that does not exist. You are writing a story that will never be read. You are building a sandcastle on a beach that will be swallowed by the ocean. And the ocean is time, and time is infinite, and you are temporary. This is what the photograph reveals. This is what the pale blue dot shows. Not that you are small, you already knew you were small, but that your smallness is absolute, irreducible, unfixable. You cannot matter more by trying harder. You cannot become cosmically significant through achievement or virtue or fame. The scale difference is too large. The universe is too vast. And you are too small. In 1977, NASA launched two spacecraft, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, on a mission to explore the outer solar system. They flew past Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. They sent back photographs of moons and rings and storms. And then they kept going, leaving the solar system, heading out into interstellar space. In 1990, as Voyager 1 crossed the orbit of Neptune, someone suggested turning the cameras around, taking one last photograph of home before the spacecraft left the sun's influence forever. The idea was controversial. The cameras were old. The sensors might be damaged by pointing them toward the sun. The data transmission rate was slow. The photograph would take hours to transmit. And what was the point? We already knew what Earth looked like. But they did it anyway. They turned the cameras, they took the photograph, and in that image, Earth appeared as a single pixel, 0.12 pixels, to be precise. Barely a blip on the detector. When scientists analyzed the photograph, they discovered something unsettling. Earth was not special. It did not stand out. If you did not know where to look, you would miss it entirely. It was indistinguishable from a million other pixels of scattered light and cosmic noise. That is what we are. Indistinguishable, unremarkable, cosmically invisible. And here is the darkest part. Even that photograph, that record of our insignificance, will not last. Voyager 1 is traveling at 17 kilometers per second relative to the sun. In about 40,000 years, it will pass within 1.6 light years of another star. By that time, its power supply will have failed. Its transmitters will be silent. It will be a dead piece of metal drifting through the void. And eventually, in millions or billions of years, it will be destroyed. Vaporized by a collision, consumed by radiation, eroded by micrometeorites. Even our attempt to document our existence will be erased. And here is what nihilism actually implies. You are alone. Completely, utterly alone. Not in the sense that no other humans exist. Obviously they do, but in the sense that no higher power is watching. No cosmic parent is judging your choices. No universal force cares whether you are happy or miserable. You are a temporary pattern of matter and energy, executing a program written by evolution, and when the program terminates, you will cease to exist, and the universe will not notice. But this is a cope, a sophisticated cope, but still a cope, because creating your own meaning is just a way of saying pretending something matters even though it does not. You can decide that helping others is meaningful. You can decide that creating art is meaningful. You can decide that learning is meaningful. But these are still subjective choices, still local values with no cosmic significance, still temporary constructs that will be erased when you die. The honest nihilist does not create meaning. The honest nihilist recognizes that meaning is an illusion and stops pretending otherwise. Now, here is the uncomfortable question. If nothing matters, why do anything? Why get out of bed? Why eat? Why work? Why maintain relationships? Why not just lie down and wait for death?
The answer is biology. You are a machine built by evolution to survive and reproduce. That machine generates drives, hunger, thirst, desire for social connection, fear of death. These drives feel meaningful because the machine is designed to make them feel meaningful, but they are not meaningful. They are just the outputs of a biological program running on meat hardware.
You eat not because eating matters, but because your body produces hunger, and eating stops the hunger. You work not because your work has cosmic significance, but because your brain has been conditioned to associate productivity with reward. You maintain relationships not because love is objectively valuable, but because social bonding was evolutionarily advantageous, and your brain still produces oxytocin when you interact with people you care about. You are running a program. The program does not have a purpose. It was not designed by an intelligent agent. It was shaped by random mutations and differential survival over millions of years. And the program will continue running until it stops, at which point you will cease to exist. That is what you are. A temporary execution of a purposeless program on a temporary substrate in a temporary solar system in a universe that will eventually reach maximum entropy and become incapable of supporting any complexity whatsoever. And there is no escape. You cannot transcend this. You cannot upload your consciousness and live forever in digital form because consciousness is not separable from the physical substrate that generates it. You cannot achieve immortality through your children because your children are not you and they will also die. You cannot live on through your accomplishments because your accomplishments will be forgotten. You cannot find meaning in something larger than yourself because there is nothing larger than the universe and the universe does not have meaning. You are trapped. Trapped in a body that will decay. Trapped on a planet that will be destroyed. Trapped in a universe that will die. And the tragedy is that you are aware of it. You are conscious enough to understand your own insignificance, but powerless to change it. This is the human condition. Consciousness is a cruel joke. It gives you just enough awareness to comprehend your own meaninglessness, but not enough power to do anything about it. Every religious tradition in human history has developed elaborate stories to deny this fact. Heaven, reincarnation, resurrection, ancestor spirits. These stories are not true. They are psychological defenses against the terror of non-existence. We cannot accept that death is final, so we invent continuities. We tell ourselves that some essential part of us, the soul, the spirit, the consciousness, persists after the body fails. But there is no evidence for this. None. Every study of consciousness suggests it is generated by the brain. Damage the brain, and consciousness changes. Destroy the brain, and consciousness stops. There is no ghost in the machine. There is only the machine. And when the machine stops working, there is nothing left. You will die. Everyone you love will die. Everyone who remembers you will die. And then you will be truly gone, not just dead, erased, as if you never existed. This is not pessimism. This is not depression. This is realism. This is what happens. This is what has always happened. This is what will always happen. And knowing this, knowing that your existence is temporary, and your death is absolute, and your life has no cosmic significance, how should you live? What should you do with the time you have? The existentialists would say, you should create meaning. That even though the universe is meaningless, you can assign meaning through your choices. That authenticity and freedom and taking responsibility for your life can generate subjective meaning even in an objectively meaningless cosmos. But this is just another form of denial, a more sophisticated form, but still denial. Because subjective meaning is not meaning, it is self-deception. It is pretending that something matters when it does not, and calling it subjective does not make it real. The absurdists would say, you should embrace the absurdity, that life is fundamentally absurd, consciousness emerging in a meaningless universe, and the appropriate response is to laugh at the cosmic joke, to live fully anyway, not because it matters, but because you are here and you might as well. But this is also a cope, a way of deflecting the horror with humor, a way of pretending that recognizing absurdity somehow transcends it. The honest answer, the answer most people cannot accept, is that there is no should. There is no correct way to live. There is no purpose to fulfill. You can live however you want, and it does not matter. You can spend your life helping others or harming others, creating art or destroying it, seeking pleasure or embracing suffering, and none of it has cosmic significance. You will die either way. You will be forgotten either way. The universe will continue either way. This is what the pale blue dot reveals. Not just that we are small, but that our smallness is absolute and irreversible. That we cannot become significant through effort or virtue. That the gap between human scale and cosmic scale is unbridgeable. That everything we do is contained within that pixel, and the pixel is nothing, and nothing we do will ever change that. You are nothing. I am nothing. We are all nothing, not metaphorically, literally, cosmically, objectively, nothing. You are a temporary complexity in that machine, a brief Edwin flow of entropy, a pattern that emerged and will dissolve. And when you dissolve, the machine will continue, unchanged, as if you never were. This is the truth. The pale blue dot reveals, not that we should cherish the earth, not that we should treat each other kindly, not that our shared fragility creates mutual responsibility. Those are the comforting lies we tell ourselves to avoid the real message. The real message is simpler, harsher, more absolute. You are nothing. You have always been nothing. You will always be nothing. And nothing you do will change that. The photograph does not lie.